For the book reader, life holds seemingly innumerable treasures. I have been an avid book reader for years now. When I was much younger, I had a hard time, finishing a book. I enjoy picking them up, I enjoy going to bookstores and libraries and bringing home a big stack of books only to never complete any of them. So as I got to be older, I vowed that I would start finishing them just if for nothing else but the simple sense of accomplishment. And so, what I mean by innumerable treasures is that there's just so many sources available to us that we can go to and find out new things. It'll take us, these books will take us to new places, introduce us to people that we would never otherwise meet. We get to get into their lives in a very intimate way, whether they be fiction characters or real life people. And so sometimes when you come across these books, it's in the most uncanny way. Um, the books I'm going to talk to you about today, the Time Magazine Time Capsule books, kind of just fell into my lap. And what happened was every day, the way I get a large chunk of my reading done is I read during my lunchtime, which affords me about an hour of good reading. And sometimes it's interrupted. And I don't really particularly care for that. It kind of grates my nerves a little bit. But in this case, it kind of worked out for me in the end. I was eating up at Zaxby's, and there's a lady that works there that is always talking to me while I'm trying to read, and it kind of annoys me. But I try to be nice. I try to be nice, and I try to imply that I'm busy doing something. But she's always like, "What are you reading? What are you reading?" And so I'll tell her, and so she kind of picked up on the kind of things I like to read. Now, I don't know how she figured this out so well because I read a wide variety of things. But she came to me one day and she said, "I brought a box of books for you. You might want them. They're out in my car." And I was thinking to myself, "Oh no, I hate turning people down. I hate reject. But I'm probably not going to like these, whatever they are, because generally a lot of times the books that people recommend to me aren't any good." I said, "Oh, okay, I'll look at them." And so she comes back in with this shoe box full of books, okay? And I was a little afraid. So I noticed that, as you can tell, they look all very similar, right? They look like a series of books, and they are. And so I took a glance at them, my initial thought was, no, I'm not going to like these. And then as I began to inspect them further, what I realized that they are is books that are published by Time Magazine called Time Capsule. And in this box, there are 14 books, and they all have a different year on them. This is 1923, which is the first year that Time Magazine published anything. And so this is 1923, has Charlie Chaplin on the cover. And what each individual book does is it takes the notable articles from that year in different subjects, in different categories, and it chronologically lines them up under different headings. Let me explain this a little bit. I find this fascinating. This has been one of the great treasures of reading for me, and I want to recommend it to you. So here's what you have. Okay, so I have Time Capsule 1923, has Charlie Chaplin on the front of it. Let me go through these one by one. Just bear with me here. This is Time Capsule 1925 with Babe Ruth. And then Time Capsule 1927 with Charles Lindbergh on it. 1929 with Herbert Hoover on the front of it. 1932 with Einstein. 1933 featuring Franklin Delano Roosevelt. 1939 Adolf Hitler. Some dust flying around here. 1941 the boxer Joe Louis, Brown Bomber. 1943 General Bernard Montgomery. 1944 Dwight D. Eisenhower. 1945 General George S. Patton. 1950 General Douglas MacArthur. 1956, Princess Grace of Monaco. And 1959, boy, I got all this dust. I should have cleaned this out before I did it. 1959, Fidel Castro. Now, if you've seen these people featured on the cover of the magazine, does not indicate that this is what this book is all about, this one person. It's not. Let me give you an example here. 1959 here, what they're telling you here in the front to give you kind of a glimpse into it is some of the things you'll read about is Castro conquers Cuba, the great TV quiz show scandal, Khrushchev visits the United States, Dalai Lama flees Tibet, and Russia hits the moon. That's the last one in the series of this that I have. Now, there are some books in this series that I am missing. Okay, as you can see, I didn't hit everything from 1923 to 1959. There might be a few after this, for all I know. But there's definitely some in there in the mix that I don't have that I want to look for and find. I want to turn you guys on to these because if you're interested in history at all, you're going to want to bone up on the content that lies within these books. What I like about these is that we're not dealing with just U.S. history here in the time capsule books. We are dealing with world history. And it starts off in 1923 with Charlie Chaplin on the cover. Let me tell you something on here. What they tell you you're going to find within the pages of this book are many things, including President Harding's sudden death, Mussolini's first year in power, Hitler's abortive beer hall putsch, the murder of Pancho Villa, Dempsey knocks out Furbo. So they're giving you a kind of cutting a little bit of a wide swath there. And here's what they do inside the book. Here's how they break this up. It starts off with the introduction, just to kind of give you a glimpse of what you're headed for. And then it breaks it down. You have like about between 16 and 20 different categories they run you through, and they do it chronologically in each category. They start off at the beginning of the year and work and give you the highlighted articles in that subject till the end of the year. Now, here are some of the headings that you're going to find in these books: national affairs, foreign news, sport, music, science, theater, religion, art, medicine, crime, law, cinema, education, the press, business and finance, and books. Now, sometimes they'll have additional categories like aeronautics, show business, radio and TV, people, war in Asia, U.S. at war, world, battlefields, and Army and Navy. So those are like ancillary topics they throw in there on top of some of these other ones. So you get like a gamut of different topics and that they really zero in on, and sometimes the articles overlap each other in different subjects. And what they do is as you're going through, let's say national affairs here, let's go to page 1, national affairs. It starts talking about the presidency, and it starts off. It gives you in the on the side here, the paragraph. It gives you the date of when this article was first published, which is March 10th. The next article is March 24th, and then it continues to move on throughout the year. It jumps to June 11th, June 18th. So it's chronological, and then they'll within national affairs they'll jump to different topics within that, and but still remains in national affairs like the cabinet, a lot of government stuff, Congress, and then you'll go to foreign news, and then it'll give you a chronological list of highlighted articles in that. It's very fascinating. And then what they'll do at the end of a lot of these headings, as you get to the end of that chapter, which usually national affairs is the longest one, but when you get to the end of a lot of these, they have a category called milestones and miscellany. And milestones and miscellaneous things like they'll give you birth, death, and wedding announcements of notable figures. And then the miscellaneous is like strange news, Strange News. These have been absolute. These have been absolute gems for me. Okay, I have gotten a lot of the illustrations for my life application videos that I do from these books. Not all of them, but a good sum of them. A good sum of them, because they're just fascinating, and you guys have liked them. So uh, if you like I said, if you like world history, you're gonna like these. I mean, it would contain mostly, early 20th to mid 20th century, um, you know, uh, facts and figures and stuff like this. But it's not just a matter of dispensing trivia to you. I mean, they'll give you actual articles. I learned a lot. I learned an immense amount of information that's really helped me out a lot to understand the world I live in. And surprisingly enough, it remained pretty unbiased. I wouldn't have expected that from Time Magazine. I don't know if they would do that now. I have no idea. But it remained pretty unbiased. It did not lean politically one way or the other. And so there you have it. There you have it. These were published. All these books were published in and around 1967 and 1968. And on the back of these books, you're going to find about, see, 16 different Time magazine covers, and they want you to guess who each figure is. And it's not the same on every book. Okay? And that's kind of fun. It's a fun little game to see if you can recognize the portraits of some of the world's notable figures. That's kind of a nice little thing. But honestly, I could have read these books all in about a matter of 3 months if I read a book a week. Because there's, like I said, there's 14 here. So it might have taken me about 3.5 months. But what I did was I kind of inserted these books between other books because I like to change topics. And I could have read it a lot faster, but I didn't. One thing I want to point out is, if you notice at the top of these books, in the day that they were published, they ran for about $1.65 a piece. You could buy them in a whole set, apparently. And I don't know how to recommend you guys as to where to find these, because if you just search Time Magazine Time Capsule books, you're going to find they come from various sources. You can get them on Amazon, Etsy, all over the place. They're just all over the place. And I'd like to complete my stack of books here to learn even more. And I wish that Time Magazine still put these out every year, because I would be busy for a long time and just gleaning a lot of information about the world that we live in. And as long as they could remain unbiased, I would enjoy it a lot. But it's a lot of fun. If you guys like that kind of thing, check out Time Capsule, Time Magazine, Time Capsule books, and get as many as you can, and just enjoy going through these and finding out what was going on in the world long before you ever came around. And hear it from a different angle than what you might be seeing on television, like on Discovery or Smithsonian History Channel, which I love all those. But you're going to read about things in these books that you won't find on TV or even in some history books. So it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. And one of the things I've really, as far as book reading goes, let me tell you guys, one of the things I've enjoyed the most is the very last heading in these books is about books. Okay, like I said, I'll have many different ones. Like, they'll tell you what was going on in the theater, like on Broadway. They have articles on what was in the movie theaters those years, interesting people of those years, just all sorts of things. But at the very end, they have the books that were published that year that you might want to know about. And so now I've got like 14 different books that are giving me recommendations on several dozen books in each year that you might want to check out. So now I have an idea of different books I might want to read now. So yeah, that's been real fun. Like in 1927 here, the one with Charles Lindbergh on it, for example. Some of the ones they tell you about is Persone, the collected poems of Ezra Pound, Elmer Gantry, Young Men in Love, Tristram, I guess that's how you say it, Tristram, The Glorious Adventure, Magic Mountain, The Early Worm, To the Lighthouse, Miss Brown of XYO, things like that. Things that I would never know to look for those books, and they tell you whether they think they were good or bad, or whether they hit the mark or they missed it by a long shot. They do the same thing with movies, and it's funny to read about people that are still alive that were like children back during these times. So anyway, I can't say enough. I think I'm just going to keep rambling if I don't shut up. So check out all these, and tell me if you have any yourself. Let me know in the comments section below whether you've been able to find any of these, if you've ever read any of these for yourself or not. And if you have any that you want to get off your hands that I don't currently have, let me know. I'll buy it from you. So anyway, I hope that's turned you on to something new. Time Magazine, Time Capsule books. Take a gander at them. All right, guys, I've enjoyed it. If you liked this video, please hit the thumbs up button. Subscribe if you haven't already. I'll be doing more of these book-related videos. And share this with others. And look into what I've shared with you today. I've enjoyed it. I'll catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.